I'm Tami McCarthy.
And I'm Becki Davis.
We're two soul sisters on the front lines of growth and transformation, getting real about it all.
You know, sometimes we're totally in our woo-woo groove, walking on light.
Yep. And other times, we lose our footing and end up tripping over those very same rays of sunshine.
That's woo-woo in the real world.
On this show, we're giving you an inside look at all the healing practices and mindfulness that we use and how we integrate them into our lives.
Yep, we're talking to interesting people who can help us along the way as we look at some of the woo and wild things that make us go,
We hope that you'll join us
living woo-woo in the real world.
Let's kick it off. We're kicking off season 2. Here we are.
Here we are. Welcome, welcome. Yeah.
We're back in the woo-woo way.
It's just so funny because it's June and we
know.
kicked off season 1 back in December, right?
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. Like that chunk of time has flown by so quickly.
So quickly. And it's crazy that it's like we will be closing our eyes and snapping our fingers and we'll be back to December. So it's like, even though we're recording this now in June, we're kicking off our season. I think the first show, this episode's going to air at the end of June. And this season's going to take us all the way through the summer. And by the time we're done with the season, it's going to be the fall.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Which also just reminds me, you and I attended a little talk this week together with Dr. Christy Vanacore. And so just talking to you now about this, I mean, we've been planning this theme for our episodes, right? Rituals. For a while now, and recording some stuff, and we'll be recording more. But, you know, it really struck me when we were talking just now, and you just said, you know, seasons and cycles and circles. And that's what she talked about also, you know, that is how we live. Like everything is cyclical and seasonal.
And nonlinear.
Exactly.
Even though we would like it to be linear, it will not be. Yeah.
For reals.
Yeah.
So
and that talk she was so good, but also going back to her talk and the rituals, when she was going through some of the practices that really help us ground into ourselves, the whole talk was really about like rewilding and coming back to our natural essence of who we are. And she was saying like there are lots of different practices that she has that she thinks really help people rewild or get back to who they are. And one of them is rituals and ceremony.
Yes.
So that stuck out to me as well, because I was like, yep, we are definitely on to something talking about rituals here and how important they are in really helping us recenter back to ourselves. Yeah,
totally. Which is also, you know, some of the themes in a lot of my conversations right now are, you know, we just have to get back to basics. We have to get back to our roots. We have to get back to, even when we were talking to Marin, hint, for an upcoming episode, you know, she touched on it too, you know, just in terms about our connection to nature is ultimately what leads us back home to ourselves, right? And rituals can be a way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I feel like this is a good spot because as we're setting up this season about rituals and as we continue to talk about different healing modalities, the point of all of them is to help us get in touch with our innermost spark, our innermost flame, that spot inside of us that is untouchable and incorruptible by anything in this world, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's important to just kind of put a note on that. We like to offer and show people all these different kinds of modalities and different options. And the reality is you're probably only going to have like one or two in your life at any given moment, because we don't want to, you know, this is something I talk to my friends about where they're saying, I just don't know which one. And there's so many different options. And I feel like I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I should be doing that. And then they start to feel a little overwhelmed. And in some ways, it can almost become a distraction to getting to the thing, which is quiet and stillness and being with yourself. And so I think, you know, we've said it before many times, do what works for you. Like pick the thing that works for you, the thing that resonates with you. And in whatever season of life that you're in, because it will change.
It will change.
It will change. And so hopefully all of these conversations just add to your toolbox, or
Yeah.
will give you a touch point of something to go back to if a season in life changes and you think, gosh, this practice or this ritual, it's not doing it for me anymore, or it's time for me to go to the next level. There may be something in there for you. So thought that
Yeah,
was just a
sure.
good
Yeah,
point to make.
right. And also just like to tie that back into the real world. Recently I've had to confront the illness of a parent, right? And, that puts a lot of stress on our own system, our
Yeah.
nervous system, and the stress that you take on, first of all, because you feel bad that, someone that you care for is not well. And so everything for me right now, everything is running through a different lens than it's ever run before. And to your point, about how things change, or how something could change for you in terms of what season of life you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the world, whether it's just the outside world or our family world, those changes also affect us. And
Absolutely.
right. And
Yeah.
so by having kind of a rich toolkit of stuff, whether it's, spiritual tools or mindful tools, or, whatever label it is, like just to bring my own self into the present moment and to calm my nervous system down, right? Because that's scary,
Yeah.
and when things look slippery, for me, these past, 2+ weeks, they've been slippery. And it's rituals that have really been something that I've been turning to and thinking, oh, let me do that thing. And then I'm like, that's not really doing it for me,
Yeah.
and so a lot of times it might be just kind of sitting there with your own self and not really doing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up about the emotional, the emotional labor of some
Mhm.
seasons. My sister is going through a very similar thing with her mother-in-law is very ill. And she was just saying, like, and her father-in-law had just been really ill. And, she's a healthcare provider. So a
Uh-huh.
lot falls on her.
Totally.
And she has a day job of doing that, right? So she just said, I'm so exhausted. And I said to her, take good care, because people underestimate the physical toll that emotional labor takes on us. It's emotional labor, but your body is really pulling it all in. And I just think we can never give ourselves enough grace and rooted practices, like you said, to help reset your nervous system. So important.
It's so important. And just all the different ways that all these external factors that we come into contact with affect us
Yeah.
physically, mentally, emotionally. And yeah, so back to the whole ritual thing, I'm really, really grateful for my meditation practice, but
Yeah.
then also realizing, like, okay, it's not always going to be perfect, and you're not always going to be able to like fit it in how you think you're going to, and you just kind of have to
Yeah.
roll with it sometimes too,
Right.
right?
Because sometimes you just need to sleep.
Sometimes you just need to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it really is just the sleep. And like you said, doing nothing, the nothingness of it, of sitting and just
Mhm.
being, it's a good pivot point for us for this conversation today, because we actually started our conversation about rituals last spring. We had an episode that we aired on March 29th, where we really got into what does woo woo mean to us. And that's the
Mhm.
name of that episode. So if people want to go back and listen, we started talking about rituals and practices towards the end of that episode. And we were getting so into it. You even said, you were like, I think we're going to have to do a part 2. And now we're
Oh,
doing a whole
yeah,
season, because
whole
there's so
season.
much,
So much.
so much. And so for me, right before we started recording, I was saying to Tami, for everyone who's listening, that, for me, I find that I need to really differentiate between what rituals are and what practices are,
Mhm.
because I think they're new. The difference is nuanced, but super important. Because for me, I have a lot of daily practices that I do. Like my morning page is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I do every day, but I wouldn't call it a ritual. And here's why. On that episode, we talked about the definition of a ritual as being a series of actions performed in a very particular way. But the point of those is to create space for awakening, healing, and discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the difference. Like that's the real difference of I think a practice either helps you organize the thoughts in your mind, or maybe dump out the thoughts in your mind, or create new patterns in your mind. So like as a musician, when I practice the guitar, I'm literally creating new patterns in my mind so that my
Right.
hand can perform that action.
Right.
So I think practices have more to do with the mind and how to organize it or reprogram it. And rituals actually have to do with getting your mind out of the way. It's about dropping it out, and so that you can actually drop into your heart center more.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's how I kind of piece apart the differences. I don't know if you have thoughts about that or further thoughts since we talked about it in March.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think, you're definitely like right on the money, but too, it's just ultimately we all have to just decide what's going to work for us. And I think the more you involve, just your own self and your own energy into what works versus, oh, Becki does this, so I'm going to do this, or Tami
Right.
does this, so I'm going to do this, right? But it may or may not work for you. And I think that's the beauty of it, is just discovering what works for you and where you find that moment where you just sort of like float away from the busyness of life, and you're just really just kind of like in your own heart center, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's a beautiful way to explain it. And I think, yeah, like whatever works. I think the more people that are just in this mindful orbiting world of mindfulness, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
know, like, we also brought a little show and tell today. So if
We did.
anybody catches the video, they'll be able to see the visual, but we'll also talk about it because, these are different tools or practices or just whatever, I know you're going to share some things and I'm going to share some things that may or may not, work for other people, but it's a way to get started.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so for the season of this, for this season of episodes where you had said, yes, we're doing a theme, which is rituals. And I think kind of the overarching theme of our theme, if you will, is
the theme of the theme.
Theme of the theme within the theme is the elements of nature, right? So water, fire, air, and earth. And each of our episodes will be structured around an element and how you can actually work with the elements of earth in your own life, right? So going back to that talk with Dr. Christy Vanacore earlier this week, she talked about how her practice, right, is first thing before the sun rises, and it's really important. She goes outside, she watches the sunrise, and it's important for your eyes and the sun to meet, right? For light and for things that make us healthy as individuals. But she also puts her feet in the ground, right on the earth. And that's a beautiful practice of kind of working with the fiery element of the sun and the grounding nature of the earth to energize and center ourselves to and be more present in our lives, right? Back to this feeling or goal of wholeness, which, as she talked about too, was, the ultimate wellness, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that feeling of, I don't know if anybody else has done this, where you go outside and just put your bare feet, it's bare feet on the ground, and it has to be earth. It can't be, concrete. It's got to be earth.
Totally.
Yeah. And just that feeling.
We get that. We have a guest that we're trying to get who there's like a whole topic around that. It's called biophilia. So I'm like, let's talk about it.
Well, that's what's exciting about this season is really talking to people who are experts in these different modalities that are tied to the elements because there's so much science behind it. That's what's very exciting about it, especially I think for us in this world to kind of connect the dots of we can't just totally ignore that our brain is going to be saying, what am I doing out here? Like, why am I standing? And you might feel in your body that it feels good. But if somebody can explain the science behind it, it just connects all of your intelligence centers so that you can more fully embrace that and really take in what it has to offer. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that in this season a lot of having people who understand that kind of those aspects of the elements.
Yeah. So for people out there who are listening, we're going to be bringing in different experts in different areas, as you know, Becki mentioned, and to drill down on all the different ways we can incorporate ritual and the elements to just, feel better, right?
Yeah.
And to kick
us off.
I wanted to share this for those that are watching. So it's called I Am the Ritual, and it's a deck of cards by somebody that I follow called the Moon Deck. I like to work with different decks, by the way. Like I have this deck that I use all the time.
Is that an oracle deck? What is that?
Yeah, this is Angel Wisdom Tarot.
Ooh.
I love this deck. I love working with the angels. I'm a big angel person. But this one I loved because sometimes it's like, I think it's also really important to just bring that fun element into it, right? And so this is a box of cards that I'm going to show you, but I wanted to read this on the back of the deck because, it's just, as we talked about before, ceremonies, rituals, practices, they're just great ways to bring you into the present moment, but also bring intentionality to your life, right?
Yeah.
Right now, I know for me, as I mentioned before, I'm in reaction mode, right? It's like, you've got to be on the phone with doctors. You've got to, for my mom who doesn't drive a lot or isn't really comfortable behind the wheel. And, my dad was the one driving her around and stuff. It's like, okay, so, I've got to be on call a bit more to make sure like logistically she can get to places, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm in reaction mode, right? So it's like my schedule kind of has to go out the window, or if a doctor calls when I was about to sit down and meditate, like, these other things are important too. So we have to find the balance, right?
Yeah.
But this is a way to kind of come back to it. And for me, sometimes I'm like, let me just grab this deck and let me just pull a card and work with it. And it's really cool. So, this is called I Am the Ritual, and it says a ritual card deck that salutes our shadow, our light, and every shade in between. And
I like that.
Aren't there so many shades in between?
There are. And, I really appreciate that it says that it salutes the shadow and the light, because so many things just want to go for the light, the light, the light. And there is a whole lot to learn in the dark.
But I mean, actually, the dark is where it all is, right?
Yeah.
In terms of your own growth and evolution. But so this potent deck explores a variety of practices that will inspire, guide, heal, awaken, ground, and invite you to expand your heart and mindset. These rituals will bring the sacred into your daily life, special occasions, major transitions, and intimate connections. May this offering be a sanctuary for you. May it guide you to listen and connect deeply. May your journey be empowered by a clear and confident inner knowing. May you trust in your ability to see the unseen and tend to your spirit. May you love yourself through it all, right? I mean, it's just so great. And
that's lovely.
And then on the inside, it says, your rituals are your sanctuary, a space to conduct your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how easy it is. Like people like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. It's just like, you don't need a lot. Maybe you just need a deck of cards.
That's right. Just one thing to help you jump off in a direction. Are you going to pull one for us? I would love to hear what one sounds like.
I'm just going to shuffle these. And so the front of the card says, I am the ritual. And now I'm just going to pick a card. Oh my God. I feel like I picked this one for you. Um,
I can't wait to hear it now.
okay. You're going to love this one, actually.
Okay.
So the ritual is dream speak,
Mm.
a bedtime ritual to connect with the messages in your dreams. You are such a dreamer. Like your dreams are. Keep a dream journal, pen on your nightstand. As you settle into bed, set the intention to remember your dreams upon waking. You may also apply a calming scented oil to your temples to assist you in clearing your mind and relaxing more deeply. Make this as a nightly practice to go deeper. Lie down and focus on your breath. Count backwards starting from 100. I used to do that with my kids all the time, by the way. There is no need to reach to 0. Focus on the descent as you inhale 100, exhale 100, inhale 99, exhale 99, etc. You will eventually drift to sleep. Let it happen. As soon as you wake up, take a moment to recollect your dreams while still in bed. The space between sleeping and waking is a potent time. Trust what is revealed and let go of needing to remember perfectly. When ready, write down all you can remember. If you can't remember, free write about your sleep. Get into the practice of recording in the morning. With time, you will remember more of your dreams. Be patient with the process. See where it takes you.
Okay. So I am like having a major woo-woo moment here because you just pulled that card. And for people who can't see us, Tami and I are not physically in the same space. We are recording remotely today.
Yes.
So I have no control over these cards. I have no idea what she's pulling. I couldn't wait to, I haven't even ever even touched that deck. So I don't even know what's in there. And let me tell you that for about the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I have this astrologer that I have an app for and I follow her. And
It's a good app. Tell everybody the app.
It's called the Chani app, CHANI.
Yep.
She's a phenomenal astrologer. She works off your rising sign. And so you get like a daily horoscope, and then you get like a weekly reading and journal prompts and meditations. It's really juicy and full and good. And it's like the biggest toolbox. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So many good things in there. And for her readings for my sign, I'm a Scorpio rising. And so for the Scorpio rising, she has been saying for like the last 2 weeks, almost this whole month, like, really pay attention to your dreams, really, really get into your dreams, start keeping a dream journal. Like she has been after me in this theme. And I keep thinking, I've tried to keep a dream journal before, and then it kind of falls away. And then I thought, oh, maybe I really should get back to it. And so the fact that you just pulled that card and you didn't know that. I never told you. I didn't tell you that that's what I was getting. No. And so the fact that you said, I feel like this is for you.
Yeah, because you have vivid dreams that you've told me about. I'm like, wow, she really has these intense dreams.
I do. It's true.
But how amazing is that? Right?
It's so amazing. And you know, what else is funny about that and just like pulling that card? And this is why I love these kinds of things. And this is why I love rituals. And something as simple, just like you said, something as simple as people saying like, I don't know where to start. Something like that can pull you into such a deep mode of contemplation that will get you deeper than you even imagined that you could have gone. Like just the right question, just the right journal prompt, just the right, reading or something like that. Because for me, like even just sitting here, my mind was like swimming as you were reading that. And I was thinking, it also is hitting on this theme. I've been hitting this theme since the last full moon. Like I was doing some journaling around that. And just this theme of like you can actually trust yourself. Like I have been trying to witness my process, which several healers have been telling me to do, like really be a witness to your own process. And just like the whole, like, you can really trust yourself. You can really trust yourself. And that's something when I was a kid, I did have really, I can't even really call them dreams. Like you said, like they're really these other kind of things. But as a kid, I was kind of told not to trust them. Right. And so it's kind of now hitting also on that, like, you can really trust yourself. You can trust your instincts. You can trust these knowings. You can trust these dreams that you get. And so I don't know. So I'm just real time showing people how you can fall down like the deepest, most meaningful contemplative thing off of a card pull that I had no anticipation of what that was going to be.
100%.
Yeah.
And also what struck me when I was reading it, I was like, wow, I think as humans right now in this modern techie world, the waking and sleeping part, the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier because we have these damn phones all the time, right?
Yeah.
So what is the first thing that we do when we get into bed? I'm going to just check one more time, right? Before I
Yep.
put the phone down.
Final
Or
scroll or
wake
yeah.
up to pee in the middle of the night. Oh, let me just, take a little look-see, or wake up in the morning, or, and totally guilty myself. It's just so easy to reach for the damn phone
Yep.
and just automatically launch into scrolling and just take your energy so much out there, right? So what I liked about what I was reading, I was like, yeah, just like take some time and between that sleeping and waking state and reflect on your sleep.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, I know that from time to time I have dreams like everybody else. But sometimes I definitely go, oh, wow, I dreamt about something, but I have no idea. But I just have this feeling of like,
Yeah, it's trying to like come
you
up and say,
experience something, right? And as we all have heard kind of in the woo-woo space, your dreams are where your subconscious is really working, right? And you're problem solving and also obviously healing and restoring and all the good things. But so just, take a minute to just reflect, write down, I think is such a great ritual.
yeah.
Try.
Yeah.
That would be one for me to try, because that's something that I never really have thought about or, really would take the time to do. But I can see right now when I'm in this more kind of frenzy reactionary mode where like, ooh, I could actually benefit by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh,
Mhm.
I liked that a lot. My mind is still like,
I know. Now I feel like I want to pull an angel card.
okay, good. Cause I was going to ask you about that deck because I almost interrupted you to say like, wait, I don't want to move on from the angel card deck yet, because how do you work with that? And what is it?
Okay. So this is the Angel Wisdom Tarot deck.
Mhm.
Remember we had Leslie Stevenson, the Angel Intuitive, on?
Yes.
So I actually bought this deck in Chicago
Ooh.
when I visited her. Because she has this cool, like the front of the place that she works, the Ruby Room, the front of it is like a metaphysical shop. And then
Oh.
the back of it is these different rooms where healers and practitioners work. Oh my gosh. So literally I'm shuffling and this card flew out of the deck.
So that's it.
So dun dun dun. This is the card. Okay, this is going to blow your freaking mind.
I just loved your reaction. People can't see us, but like you literally just jumped up and now I'm jumping
I'm
up. What in
going
the
to
world?
give you the honors to read this card that
Oh my
flew
gosh.
out of the deck. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What is happening right now? No way. Are you serious?
This
Okay.
flew out of the deck. Can you read that for the good
Yes,
people?
I can. I can. Once I pull myself together. This is like the most real-time woo-woo shit we have done in a show ever. Like this is
Thank you,
crazy.
universe, for communicating with us.
Okay. The card is called The Dreamer. The Dreamer, everyone. That's the card that flew out of the deck. After I literally just said, like, I'm still sitting here like
No, my
swimming.
mind is blown. And here's what it says, because I don't think you can read that.
I
Can you?
can't read that. No.
Okay. A new start. Trust yourself. Push your fears aside and take a leap. Is your audio on right now?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
I just can't speak. I have no words.
Okay, well, I'll provide the words because this comes with a handy dandy. And just to let you know, there are 78 cards in this deck. There are 78 cards. And that is the card that flew out of the deck. Okay? All right, so it comes with this little guidebook, as most tarot decks do. And I'm going to look up the Dreamer, which, by the way, first page I opened in this book.
Stop it. I'm telling you,
Can't
people, when you
mess
watch
up.
this, you're going to
I
see
can't
it.
make this up. I was like,
She
let me
literally
find it because look at this book.
You guys, we
Goes
did
through
not stage this. Like, this
every
is real
suit,
time. Oh,
every suit of the tarot is here. That's in the deck, and it has a corresponding page. Okay, so I opened up to the Dreamer. Okay. I'm freaking out. Okay. Archangel Metatron, by the way, this charm that I wear is Metatron. Okay. Archangel Metatron is known for watching over very sensitive people, especially children. Here, he is watching over the Dreamer as he steps through the doorway into his next life. Ready, set, go. This is the beginning, or perhaps a new beginning for you. The Dreamer is a card of faith. It represents the moment when something new is born. The Dreamer is incarnating into a new life, but the card's meaning is symbolic. It might be a new life where you begin a relationship, launch a different career, or have a spiritual awakening that changes the way you see the world. The energy of this card requires you to believe in yourself, that you believe in the divine's love for you and its desire that you find joy. It asks that you let go of anything that might hold you back from your life purpose or following your passion. If you do that, nothing can get in your way. Nothing will stop you from making your dreams come true. Additional meanings of this card: leaps of faith, a new beginning, exciting opportunities, being your unique self, a new adventure. And this, my friends, is why we do rituals.
This is why we do rituals.
I didn't expect to bring Becki to tears on this.
I can't speak.
But I mean, so this is a room, by the way, that I'm sitting in where, like, this is where I come to talk to the angels. This is where I come to sit quietly and tune in. And, you know, I have different spaces and places around here where I'll make little, you know, altars and whatnot. And they changed the nook behind me as a place where sometimes there's a lot in there and sometimes there's a little in there. And it's a place where I feel like really connected, or try to find that connection, right? In that stillness with my higher self and with the angels. What just happened right now, I just, three different things that came up all the same. You know,
And literally use, that's the like, and literally use the exact same words that I had just said about how that thing about the dreaming, it took me to a different place, not so much about the dreams, but about trusting myself.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that description of the angel card, the Dreamer, is about like trusting yourself and trusting your process and taking that leap and knowing that you've got it. Like, you've got it inside of you. It's there. And we all have it. That's the thing.
And for me, like, look, I'm ending something and starting something else where it's so unknown, and constantly I'm second guessing myself, you know? And like, I feel for me in this ritual reading that we just did on the fly, they're saying to me, like, you got this, you got it. You've been here in this place before. Just trust.
Yeah.
So that's pretty powerful. Pretty powerful.
It is. And I mean, I guess one thing I want to say before I keep like tripping down this whole mind trip that what just happened, I'm still
Mind trip. Like, I just, yeah.
I can't even believe. Actually, I can totally believe it. It's just, and this leads into what I wanted to say. That doesn't always happen. Right. So like Tami and I just had like a major connected moment where I would say shit's like channeling. Like it's just channeling. It's coming through.
It is.
Absolutely. And I used to be afraid of that word channeling. Until I talked to somebody who is a channel, and he was explaining it to me, and he was just like, I'm literally pulling down information from like the divine source. It's not, There's nothing bad about this. And I agree with that. Like, I think it's that connection, like we talked about at the very beginning, like fostering that connection and that spark and that fire inside. And I think the more you do that, the more you do the rituals, the more you lean into your practices, the more you do these things consistently, it fans that flame. And it
Mhm.
also, it clears the channel.
Mhm.
The reason I do morning pages every morning is because it clears my channel. It keeps and I can feel the difference when I don't have time to do it. It
Right.
starts to get very muddy.
Right.
And so I feel like what just happened, it's like you and I've done so much work to really clear that this just came. It doesn't always happen that way. And it may not happen for you immediately. If you're just starting out off on your journey, don't feel like just because if you pull a tarot card or you pull something and it doesn't, and you don't have this major, like, I can't speak, it just connected 10 different dots for me kind of moment. Don't be disheartened by that at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, this does not happen to us every time we sit down and do a ritual, I would say. I could speak
No.
for myself.
And the crazy thing about this is though, too, you know, before we pressed record on recording this episode, right? We talk to each other. We know we have an outline of what
Mhm.
we are going to cover. But my decision to say, hey, I think I'm going to pull this and I'm going to do that. And I want to bring the cards in. Like, that was my intuition in that moment saying, hey, why don't you? Right. And I was like, okay, hey, Beck, I'm going to do this. Right.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like clearing your channel is also just being open to hear those whispers, tap into your own intuition and follow through, right? So yeah, it was fun to like have these things as quote the show and tell moment, and I wanted to be able to highlight a tool for people if you're listening and it sounded all too abstract up into this moment. It's like, okay, well, here's the moon deck who put out, you know, I am the ritual cards, right? But everything that happened after that was just mind-blowing.
Totally.
Mind-
Totally. And also just very affirming.
right.
I can't, I want to emphasize, like, that's a big part of ritual. It is very affirming to your process, to your own inner experiences, which
Mhm.
is so important because it's like you said, like it's you get confused or things get muddy or you think you second guess yourself, you question yourself, like, am I really like
Right.
am I really supposed to be doing that? Am I really supposed to be going down this certain path? And
Right.
um just the fact, I mean, I just said, like, I did this whole ritual around the full moon that really took me down a major
Mm-hmm.
um connection point for myself and what's going to be next for me. And Tami, we spoke about this the other day. Like, I put to words like something and it was very powerful and moving. And I'm beyond the fact that we got those cards and it's like, trust yourself, trust your
Mm-hmm.
dreams, listen to your dreams. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
So it's been a pretty powerful week, you know, like on Wednesday morning, we attended that talk. We heard this woman speak who there was lots packed in what she was saying that was very affirming for me.
And
And now
me.
we're recording this episode, and that was like, I have this like feeling right now where I'm just like, holy moly.
Me
So
too.
everybody listening is probably like, you girls, like, I think you just need to like have a drink and
But we need that too. But
yes. And also I just want to say something, you know what, for men, okay, because we spend a lot of time talking about us and
Mhm.
like-minded women and whatnot. All good. We need more goddess energy in the world, just saying. And to the degree that I can help facilitate that, I want to be that person. But I was having a conversation with someone who I do this thing where like I connect people sometimes because I think that they would benefit by having a conversation with each other. And so,
Connector in chief. Connector in
mhm,
chief. That's
yep,
my name for you.
yep. And so they were two men, okay,
Mhm.
one a little younger and one a little older. And in the court, and so one of the guys, the younger one, was telling me some parts of the conversation. He said, you'll get a kick out of this, because he said to me, I'm not very woo-woo, and, I'm not really all about like manifestation. But then he proceeded to talk about everything in this sort of very intentional, mindful way. And it was just so interesting because, again, it goes back to call it whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? Because something may sound woo-woo to you that doesn't to me, but it's just a way to say, like, there is a higher energy, force, power, and if we tap into it, that's what we're made of too.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
just get out of our own way,
mm-hmm.
and just let it come down through all around us, right? And work with that, because that's really who we are.
Absolutely. And that's the whole, going to tie it back up to our rituals. That's the whole point of a ritual. That's the whole point, is to get you connected back into that. And we're such a ritualistically starved society. The West is pretty ritualistically starved. I think a lot of it is, well, for me, like some of it is like a turnoff from organized religion,
Right?
Because that has kind of gone a little sideways in a lot of ways, that people aren't really feeling, that's not very aligned with that feeling of connection and of truth, with a capital T, truth, right?
Right.
And so it's we have to create our own rituals, and we have to find what is bringing deep meaning and a sense of order and a sense of connection to that spark. And that's what it's all about. So find whatever works, find whatever, call it whatever you want to call it. But you just saw how it works.
It works.
It works.
And the more that we can do that together in community, and whether it's, sisterhood or whatever we want to call it, it's even better, even more amplified, even more that sharing experience, right? And I mean, that's what our ancestors did, and civilizations and communities for thousands of years. And when it comes to, any type of healing, and whether, if we're just talking about, modern medicine versus alternative medicine, like whatever. I also loved what, the speaker had said earlier this week. It's like, we have so much built in self-healing. And that's like a whole other avenue to go down, whether it's, with ritual or community or ceremony or nature. Like, nature is the ultimate medicine.
Absolutely. It can do so much. I mean, just, we could have a whole season about nature.
Start with hugging a tree. Here's what people can take from this episode. Put your bare feet in the ground.
Yes. Your eyeballs on the daylight.
Stare at the sun. What was the other thing we said?
For nature, or
or just, ritual.
I mean, I think it's finding whatever practice helps you create space for your internal world to crack open.
Right.
Whatever does that for you. But it's going to be quiet, and it's
right. Like, you've got to go inward. It's not going to be like an outward situation where all of a sudden you're just like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go in again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah, because each time you go in, you learn more stuff.
Absolutely. Man. Okay. I feel like we've got to wrap up this episode, and it's 2:22. Of course, I just looked at the clock. 2:22.
Okay.
All the aligning numbers. We're good. This episode just put a little bow right on top of it. Right. So I think that we've covered what we were supposed to cover today.
We did. I was just looking at my notes thinking like, is there anything else? And I just think, you know what? I think we got it. They got it. And we'll be sharing more in like 3 or 4 more episodes. So
yeah, it's coming all summer long. Yeah, all summer. And we're going to have good episodes coming your way. And we're very excited about it. And we would love for you to share your rituals with us, because we want to hear what you're doing, and we can share those on the show as well.
Totally. Peace out.
All right. Talk to you next time.